This video continues the topic of how you can build a climate narrative, and this zeroes in more specifically on business decision-making, business narratives, business scenario planning. And I'm just going to show you some of the overlay, the have you considered overlay that's available to you with premium access to the Climate Web. So what this overlay does is simply ask, have you thought about the possibility that this might happen? And what would it mean for your company? And perhaps that means it should be part of your scenario planning, or you should be factoring it in some other way. And this is lots of different things. What have you considered that we could still be underestimating the atmosphere's sensitivity to greenhouse gas emissions, which could mean that climate change might accelerate more than planned with all sorts of knock-on effect? Have you considered the likelihood of serious policy materializing in tandem with dramatic climate change? Have you considered the political implications of Florida swinging Democratic over sea level rise? Have you considered what achieving a 2-degree climate target would actually require in terms of business action and business response? So this isn't predicting anything, but these have you considered are intended to help open up your thinking and perhaps break some assumptions about how to get your head around what climate change might mean for your company. Now, in this case, this is a business general climate response that almost anybody in business might want to think about these variables. You can go, though, into specific sectors and see what are the variables that an individual sector like aviation might look like. What if flight shaming were to rapidly grow? What if virtual reality became a viable alternative to business travel sooner than is anticipated? What if carbon offsets basically disappeared and couldn't be used by the aviation sector? Which airports can and can't be fortified against sea level rise? All questions specific to a particular sector, and we're only showing you the aviation sector here. Then you can get down into specific questions at the company level. Have you considered how vulnerable you may be to systemic risk events? Have you considered whether climate greenwashing could become a material risk to your company? Have you considered whether responding too early could generate as much business risk as responding too late? Have you considered whether failure to meet your voluntary greenhouse gas targets might end up generating legal liability? Again, there are no predictions here, but trying to help users get their heads around where could climate change go for purposes of our company, and how might we want to be thinking about it. These overlays are a feature of premium access to the Climate Web, and I'd encourage you to take a look at the premium access information at the home, the Climate Web home, which is always right here in terms of download it, premium access. Climate Web is available to you at theclimateweb.org. This has been just one of the many things that you can do with the Climate Web. Take a look at the Climate Web User's Guide for a lot more insight into the different capabilities and powers of the Climate Web. You can get that at theclimateweb.com. Many more How Can I videos available to you at that link, and we're happy to get your questions and suggestions. Thanks.